Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. Short hiatus, you know how the business do be, but we are back for episode 21. The grind continues and the Kilted revolution don't ever stop. So I'm thrilled as always to kick off another Scottish Falcons show. To my left, as always, is my good brother, my co-host, and the original Scottish Falcon, Des Stevenson. And before we get into the intros from the chat, it's been a minute since we last touched base. So how are you, my brother? A lot of Falcon stuff to talk about.
Absolutely, life gets in the road. That's all I'm saying, mate. Obviously,
yeah.
So it's quite ironic that we went through effectively 2 or 3 months of absolutely nothing happening, and then just as the season happens, I've got things happening, and you've got things happening. So, unfortunately, what I would say is that nothing gets in the road of the Atlanta Falcons. We're always there to watch them and make sure we're there in spirit. But when it comes to like a 2 hour or a 3 hour podcast, sometimes obviously I've got a business. Sometimes stuff just gets in the road, unfortunately. But here's hoping that going forward, it's going to be us Thursday, Saturday. For the rest of the season going forward, but there's plenty to talk about. Well, plenty to talk about.
100%. And before we do talk about anything, a shout out as always. We've been in the background grinding to get the little bits and bobs done, and there will be a lot of stuff that's already been in the chat that we'll be bringing up a little bit later on. But shout out to some of the guys, some of the frequent flyers that haven't, as I say, that are background flyers, but we see you all just the same. So Smooth C, sup Scotty's good to see you, my boy. Southside Ricky as well. He showed on as well. What's going on? What's going on, everyone? Falcons Nation over everybody. Man already knows. And it's a pleasure as always to see you, Ricky. Sonia, as always, Lady Birds in the house dropping the red and blacks. So as I say, we're thrilled to see you all as always. We hope to bring you a great return show because we have been, I think you guys use it in the States, chomping at the bit to get back. Life does take over sometimes when you run your own business and things like that. But at the end of the day, Sunday is still game day for us, first and foremost. So everything else can fall by the wayside. The missus is told, look, you won't be able to find me for 3 hours on a Sunday. You know why? So let's let that just be as it is. But yeah, just as Des says, like talking about the show, this is the return show, episode 21. So we're going nowhere. Just had to kind of pump the brakes just a little bit, get a few things logistically sorted, as I say, behind the scenes, little few things sort of in real life, if you will. But in terms of ongoing goals, the 2 and 3 hour sort of mega shows, we will still do those now and again, special occasions. If we've got a big game coming up against the Aints, if it's division clinching, Super Bowl win.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a 10-hour show. 10-hour show.
That's some fever you've got coming on, brother, and I think it's catching.
And believe me, I don't drink, but I'll tell you, if we win the Super Bowl, it's going to be a 10-hour show, and every hour I'm getting drunker and drunker and drunker. You know?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. For the ones that are putting on the subtitles in hour 1 of the show, it's not going to be a good show for you by the end. I'm just warning you all now.
Just a couple of drunk Scotsmen shouting at the wall. Aye, Tampa Bay. Aye, we're beating you, Tampa Bay. We're beating you. You know what I mean?
It's gonna be such a show, and you know what? I think people are gonna may well single that out as the best show of the season. So I'm looking forward to that, and I hope it does materialise, man. But yeah, in terms of like the lengths of the shows, we're going for more an hour and a half. But we're not going to put too much pressure on ourselves. At the end of the day, we're just thrilled to get on and talk Falcons between ourselves, even if y'all weren't with us. But we're even more thrilled that we're getting so much love, not just in Scotland, but as I say, back home in Atlanta, our spiritual home, our second home as well. So we're thrilled to be back. That's all we're going to say about that. So we're opening ourselves up to more sort of breaking news. So you will see us popping on even for a few minutes here or there to keep you all in the loop. So it's going to be a big season ahead. As I say, the grind don't ever stop. So yeah, that's all we wanted to say. So we appreciate you all for your patience. And rest assured that there's more to come from the AFN International Camp.
Rumour has it that Southside Ricky's been sitting in his room for the last month waiting for us to come on. So
I know.
Really appreciate it, Southside Ricky. He's been waiting for the next show to come on for a month. So
yeah, we never meant in any way to cut your wings, brother. So as I say, we appreciate your patience, and we're back now. So no need to bang your head on the wall anymore. That your boys are back. The boys are back in town. As I say, we don't want to get copyright striked, but if you know that tune, then as I say, then get it on. But as I say, like, first and foremost, in terms of breaking news, there's been a hell of a lot going on. But one thing that I did pick up on, and this is something you might know a little bit more about, is all I seen was that it was a hamstring issue. He got a knock in week 2, quarter 2 against Minnesota. But starting cornerback AJ Terrell Jr., he missed essentially the second game in a row against Washington. So have you heard anything, Des, about his ongoing prognosis? Has there anything come out about how he's feeling? Is it day to day, anything like that? Can you give me some more info on that?
Yeah, I mean, Raheem Morris had said that it's week to week. So I think they're confident, from what a few of the reporters have said, that they're confident it will be back for the Bills game. Obviously, we've got the bye this weekend. Strange that all our shows are on when the Atlanta Falcons ain't playing. But I mean, if they'd have thought it was going to be long term, they would have put him on IR, which is it would at least miss at least 4 games. So they're obviously confident that he's going to be back within obviously the next week or two with the bye week. I think the Buffalo game, I think is that Sunday. I think that's prime time, isn't it? So again,
yes, that's right.
Crazy hours Sunday morning. And then we've got the San Francisco game, which is, I think, is it Monday night?
I think that is our Monday night game. Yeah.
So again, crazy time for us. It's like what, 1:15 in the morning over here. But they're obviously confident that he's going to be back.
It might not be, actually. It might be later than that, because if we're in the Bay, that's West Coast. So you're talking 3 in the morning.
Right. Okay.
So I need to double check. If Buffalo's at the Bends. So I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we might be going to the Bay, which means add another 2-3 hours, mate.
Aye, so it's 1:20, 20th October, okay. In the morning. So I'm assuming is that us? Is that? Aye, so that is from Levi Stadium, one of the stadiums I've been to.
Okay.
So nice stadium. Went there for WrestleMania. That's when WrestleMania was there. So absolutely amazing.
Hopefully, like the guys, when they were ready to go for WrestleMania, we can bring some fight for that one. But yeah, as I say, bounced back in a big way, Ricky. That was a big win for sure, and we needed it. As I say, with AJ Terrell out as well, we were glad to see that there was no Jaden Daniels and no Terry McLaurin. So we were blessed in that regard. I'm just going to come out and say it. I'm glad that they weren't there for that one. And shout out to Miss Christie as well. Another one of the Ladybirds, always showing love, always hanging around with the family. So it's great to see you in the chat as always, Christie. As I say, Des, it hopefully is back for Buffalo, because they're going to have a lot more threat for us than even Washington did. So he's not the perfect corner, but we need him. Wouldn't you agree?
Listen. The one thing I would say, which was beneficial for the Commanders game, was that he wasn't missed. I think Mike Hughes played well. You've obviously got the lockdown secondary with some of the boys there that we'll talk about later on. But when you've got somebody like AJ Terrell, who effectively has been I wouldn't say one of the best. He's probably he's top 10 maybe in corners in the NFL. And we didn't miss him on Sunday, which is phenomenal. But from that point of view, the better, the more good players you've got in the secondary, the better. But I'm hoping he's back. But again, I think Mike Hughes stepped up. I think D. Alford had some phenomenal plays as well. I think he get caught out for one. But again, it just seems to be that this Jeff Ulbrich defense is just took a big step up.
And that's something we'll cover a little later on too. And just to agree and also piggyback your point, you can't have enough good depth when it comes to that secondary and that pass defense. And Ricky agrees too. He's suggesting that we could well look back into bringing back CJ Henderson. And for depth's sake, I wouldn't argue against that. I think CJ Henderson has a lot of skills that are transferable. And I wouldn't complain at all to see him back in the mix. Shout out to Mad Mike as well. As I say, he was showing love in the messenger chats earlier on. So we know it's been a minute, but it's good to see you. But it's good to see you as always, my brother. But yeah, as I say, now that he is back, there's a lot that could potentially happen if he is back in terms of the Bills game. But if he's not, I would rather, as I say, give him the time to make sure he's 100%. But if we don't have him, then as you say, guys like D. Alford, although D. Alford's a high risk, he also comes with some high rewards as well. As you say, made a few really good plays on Sunday there as well. So we have that next man up mentality because, as you say, it's the way that Jeff Ulbricht's drilling it. It's through training, through camp and things like that as well. So we're definitely happy to see it.
Yeah, but again, what I would say is D. Alford played really well in Ryan Nielsen's defense. He struggled last year in Jimmy Lake's defense, but whatever Jeff Ulbricht's doing, I think Jeff Ulbricht's got that gift that he can look at players and see how they play and effectively know what position he wants to see players in. And I think he's done it with D. Alford. Mike Hughes, again, he had a few great plays as well. And again, you've got obviously the rookies and all that as well. But I would say when you talk about AJ Terrell not being missed, that's a big positive. Well, it's a big positive. And again, 100. That all comes down to, I think, the way that Jeff Ulbricht's setting up his defense.
100%. And again, shout out to Ricky. Great takes as always, guys, all around. So he's given D. Alford a lot of flack, but he's also glad that he's been proven wrong and he's looking really good this year. And I want to single out a special announcement. I knew that I kept it in the logos for a reason. So the boss lady, the first lady of AFN herself, as it were, Miss Maggie T, is in the back and she's making a special announcement. So we're going to pull that up and give the lady and the rest of the channel, all of y'all that are in the building, the Ladybirds or any of the AFN family or Flowers, because we have finally reached that special threshold of 4,000 subscribers. So as always, AFN, the voice of the fans, the voice of all the fans, when you tie in that international brand headed up by ourselves, Des, and as I say, it's a huge milestone to pass that big 4K. So congratulations, Maggie. Congratulations to all the rest of our fellow teams, the creators. So continue to like, as I say, the grind don't stop here. We're just getting back into it ourselves, but keep pushing because. As I say, every like, every subscribe, every share, and every comment that you make, every question that you ask us, just makes our shows better. So as I say, keep it coming as well. And shout out to Corey as well. He says that he thinks CJ Henderson's in the practice squad, and I think you might well be right.
No, I thought they released him. I thought they actually just released CJ Henderson.
If you can pull that up and quickly double check what the status is.
They were quick to release him. Let me see. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me see if I can
No, let's keep up the up to the minute facts, because as I say with CJ Henderson, I'm not 100%. But as Maggie says, we can't thank you all enough for your continued support on all things AFN. So the amount of passion that you guys have shown, as I say, not just ourselves for putting the shows together, but yourselves for being here every Thursday, every Saturday to show love, to make all your good points and have your voices heard as well. Is such a great honour and privilege for us. So just keep the support coming.
Yeah, he's not on the practice squad. That was one of the things I was going to say about CJ Henderson. We were really quick to release him, and I don't think we released him during the time where it was a case of we were releasing the players to then bring back into the practice squad. So again, what we had a chat again. Whatever happened, he just wasn't shown. I mean, it was a first round pick. He just wasn't shown what he was drafted for. So Southside Ricky said, we released him a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, no, that was fine. As I say, a little bit slow on the uptake, admittedly. I've missed a few bits here and there, so that was why I just wanted to stay up to the minutes. We appreciate you all on that one as well, and thank you, Des, for double checking for me there. But yeah, as I say, he wouldn't be the worst guy to bring back. But as I say, if we cut him that early in the process, then that says to me that we didn't see what we wanted to see from him. And given the cuts around the league, we should have another look at corner, certainly. But maybe CJ's not the guy.
Well, bear in mind, you've got Kobe Bryant in the practice squad. So again, he was getting a lot of attention at the training camp. So again, I think they're looking at him long term. I don't think they really want to bring him into the team quickly. I think they believe he's still probably got a lot to learn. But again, I think they look at him for the future. Again, the way they probably worked the offered a wee bit, you know what I mean? So as I say, I think we've spoke before about how Jeff Ulbrich talks about keeping it simple, and I do think that effectively he's got a system, and it's effectively a plug and play system. He'll just bring in the player, and it'll be a case of, you don't need to worry about all that. I just need you to do this. You do this, we'll be fine. I think with Jimmy Lake's defense, it was a case that the players were just confused. They didn't know what they were trying to do. And I think Ryan Nielsen done the same. I think he tried to keep it simple. And effectively, it's a case of that. This is what I want you to do. I want you to play that, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then you just don't worry about anything else. And again, that means that the players, when the players are in the position in a game where they're having to really make a play, they're not overthinking it all the time. They're not trying to think what they're trying to do, where they should be. He's literally just plugged them in and said, "This is where I want you to be." And again. 100%. And again, the benefit of that as well is that if a player comes out, again, it's next man up, plug them in. And again, you don't need to know all this. I just need you to do this. And I think it's working for Atlanta. I think at the moment we are either first or second in passing defense in the NFL, which, listen, coming into the start of the season, I was asking for an average defense. Give us an average defense. Give us a defense that's 17th in the NFL. I'll be happy with that. Jeff Ulbrich.
I remember.
Jeff Ulbrich has effectively got us at the point where we're in the top 5 in certain statistics, which is phenomenal. You know what I mean? And again, what I would say is probably when you're thinking about it, I did say in the chat that we would start and we'd just go off on a tangent, mate. But that's just the way.
No. This is the beauty of it. As I say, it's been a minute, so I'm quite happy to let you go.
Absolutely. The benefit of Jeff Ulbrich is the fact that I think he scunnered himself. Now, when I say scunnered, that's a Scottish word for he sickened himself. He made himself unwell. So effectively, scunnered himself with the Jets when he was the coach there when Salah had been fired. And I think that's a benefit, because if he keeps this defense up the way it is, at the end of this season, there's going to be coaching offers. There's going to be teams looking at him. And from my point of view, the fact that effectively all the issue that happened with the Jets, I'm hoping that stops him taking a coaching job. Because effectively this is he's turned that defense around so quickly. And remember, when we're talking about this, we're talking about a first year in Atlanta, a first year defensive coach. You know what I mean? It's a defensive coordinator. So he was with Atlanta before, but I think he was linebacker coach. So effectively, he knows the Falcons, he knows the franchise. But this is his first time effectively calling plays in Atlanta. So when you look at that and you look at what he's bringing to the defense, it's phenomenal, mate. What a turnaround! We're lucky to have the guy. But as I
agree with that.
As I said before, we live in the upside down world at the Atlanta Falcons. Effectively, we can't get both. We can't have good things. We can't have a good offense and a good defense. The defense kicks in and starts the season fantastic, and the offense didn't know what was happening. You know what I mean?
I know. But now we seem to be finally almost getting it. I mean, I know we weren't playing an A squad in against Washington, but at the same time, the offense did give us a little bit more to root for. And also in terms of like drafting process and the guys that were brought in, I feel like Ulbricht's also doing a good job of building depth in terms of role players, because you have Caden Ellis and then you have Divine Diablo, you have Leonard Floyd and then you have James Pierce Jr., you have, for instance, D. Alford and then you have Kobe Bryant, you have Xavier Watts and then Billy Bowman. And you see what I'm saying here. He's always seems to have, he's built the defense to the point where we've got, right, everyone knows their role to a certain extent. There's a little bit of flexibility or room for positional flex here and there. But essentially, you know you're going to be a Mike. You know you're going to be a defensive end. But you know what I'm saying? And obviously, we've got two levels to that as well, which is always good for, obviously, if the first number one does go down. So I feel like it's not just in terms of his play calling ability, which has shown itself this season. It's also in terms of, obviously, he's clearly had a high, a strong voice in the draft talks as well, and that's obviously been quite apparent. But it's great to see it all kind of manifest and play out.
But again, well,
as I say.
But if you look at how he was with the draft when he was banging the door and banging the room and everything, it was phenomenal, because effectively he's seen these players and he said that's the players I want. What I would say as well is that is the benefit of Jeff Ulbrich. And listen, I'll put my hands up, Will. See, when we brought in Jeff Ulbrich and they said that Jeff Ulbrich was going to be the defensive coordinator, I was not a happy man, because I thought to myself, we're going back in time, we're going back to the 2020s. In the 2020s, it wasn't a good year, you know what I mean? It certainly wasn't a good year for us, you know what I mean?
No.
Give the guy due. He sat in his first interview and he said that the man he is to what the man he was then is completely different. And again, fair play to him. The other thing I like as well is when he's looking at the draft, he's looking at, I keep on saying, he's got his system and he's looking for players that will fit in with that system. You know what I mean? And effectively, if any have known, there was a soccer coach called Alex Ferguson, who was from Glasgow, who went to a team called Man United, and that's how he done it. He had his system and he brought players into that system to play that system, and it gave them phenomenal success. Jeff Ulbricht's doing the same, and again, that's exciting for the next man up, because what he seems to be doing with his players, if you look at Jesse Bates III, and you then look at Xavier Watts, you know what I mean? Similar players, the same kind of player. So effectively, he's saying, next man up, I want somebody like him to bring into the scheme. And
100%. And it just makes everything better in terms of when, from an oppositional standpoint as well, you can see the guys going, damn, I've just got rid of this guy, and this guy's exactly the same. So I completely see what you're saying, Des. And thank you, Maggie. We are absolutely thrilled to be back. And you can tell from the excitement and the fact we're just going off into tangents that we're glad to be back.
Absolutely. Fantastic.
What's happening, Kev? 6-Man K down in the chat as well. Good to see you as always, brother. As I say, a lot of supporters. I can see right now that there's 20 of y'all watching, so that means so much to us.
Yeah, and we're going live on X on my channel as well, so that's getting people in.
Yep.
So anybody that's looking through Scottish Falcons on X, really appreciate you coming on. But believe me, you'll get used to me getting off on a tangent and start shouting about things and getting excited, and it's just the way I'm with my Falcons. But I mean, what I would say is, well, not getting away, the fact that we've played 4 games, and the fact that we've got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts Senior. I've got to admit, I much prefer this Kyle Pitts Senior to that Kyle Pitts Junior. You know what I mean? He's to be a better player. We've got Drake London, we've got Darnell Mooney, we've got Tyler Algier. We've got a stacked offense, and for the first 3 weeks, we were talking about the defense, and that shows you how good this defense is. And to be honest, the Commanders game was effectively the first time we've seen it all come together, and it was exciting to watch.
Truly, as I say, like, it seems to all be coming to the point where we seem to have all the pieces in place. It's just a matter of putting it all together. And shout out to Tony, another one of the guys that we see in every episode. So we're thrilled to see you back as always, Tony. As I say, just getting into a general sort of chit chat about all things Atlanta at the moment. But as I say, we've spoken a lot about Jeff Ulbrich, and there was a great trio of articles on the Falcons website recently. So I'm going to take this moment to shout out, as I say, a group of people who make our job a whole lot easier to do. The co-hosts of the Final Whistle. So Tori, Will, and Terran, for doing these 3 articles, because it really breaks down, as I say, Jeff Ulbrich's defensive thought process, his defensive ethos, if you will, and that you can boil that down to 3 words: heart, mind, fist. So having read those articles, and obviously going on in a little bit more detail about what we'd said previously, about some of the draft choices, some of the sort of hard-hitting, punch him in the mouth sort of attitude that's been instilled in this defense. So I mean, all good news as far as I can see. And as you say, Des, it all seems to be coming together because a high-quality offense, and we've been focusing so much on the D. So if you would talk a little bit more about that, how do you feel his thought process and the way that he does things as a coach impacts the success that we're having?
As I said earlier, I think he's got a philosophy. He's got his shape, the way he wants his players to play, and again, he just brings them in. He said before that, again, you go back to what do you call Jalen Walker's interview when he was at the Combine. And they asked him about Jeff Ulbrich and if he came to the Atlanta Falcons, and he said that he spoke to Jeff Ulbrich and it was phenomenal. The things that he was trying to do was phenomenal. And effectively, you're starting to see that. You're starting to see a lot of movement. There's a lot of movement in the defense. Effectively, they're showing maybe, say, a certain coverage and then they're moving away from that. I know there was a few question marks about the pass rush on the Commanders game, but to be honest, we're coming up against, effectively, we were playing against the NFC, a team that was in the NFC Championship game last season. So effectively, their defense is going to be better. Their offense is going to be better. So, and to be honest, there was times in that game where there was no stress, which is quite unusual for me because I get highly strung when I'm watching a Falcons game.
And that's the thing as well, to the defense of Washington. I mean, they're no slouches, as you say. NFC championship game last season, and then obviously you add into the mix as well. It's the NFC East. Every team in that division is always built through a big, solid, sturdy offensive line. It's the same in Philadelphia. It's the same in Dallas. So I mean, they're just kind of sticking with that tradition of playing good, solid, fundamental NFC East football. But I'm glad we were able to come out of that as victors. Shout out Auntie Pam as well. The Ladybirds are always flying as a sort of the collection of Falcons that you are. As I say, the kettle, as Cam would call it, always showing love. So we appreciate you as always. But as I say, it seems to be coming together defensively, and we have the depth, we have the mix of youth with experience. And as I say, I don't want to get too optimistic. Obviously, once we come back off the bye, we're talking Buffalo and San Francisco, and that's no easy come off for anyone. That's not a turn up with half a squad and walk it sort of game in either case. So I feel like we need to be prepared for that, but I feel like also we have the tools, both in terms of offense and defense, to get the job done. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, if you want to be the man, you have to beat the man. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Effectively, you've got the Buffalo Bills, who are probably at the moment one of the best AFC teams at the moment. You've then got the San Francisco 49ers, who at some point we're going to have to kick out. If we meet them in the divisional rounds, if we get into the playoff at some point, if they make it, they're going to be there, and we need to deal with that. So effectively, we're 2-2 at the moment. The next two games are really going to show us what this team is and what it's made of. And as you say, going back to Jeff Ulbrich, I have no worry about this defense at all. No worry at all. You see the way he's got it structured. The fact that he's bringing in rookies, and effectively, they rookies are probably some of the best players on the pitch.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. So,
as you say, like some of the naysayers. I mean, like at the early part in the season, I mean, I know 4 rookies on defense is a lot to start, but I feel like it's been self-evidently proved that we made the right call starting those 4 guys.
But what people don't understand is that Xavier Watts came from the James Pearce move up. So effectively, we gave them I think an earlier second round, and we took a third round off them. And then at that point, we moved up from their third round and took Xavier Watts. You know what I mean? As I said, when you've got a defense and rookies, because bear in mind, these players, anybody will tell you from college to NFL, it's a different world. It's literally it's going from a mini to a Ferrari. It's both, they're both cars, but they're just in a different world, and that's what college football and the NFL is like. And for us to have, and bear in mind, these ain't just rookies that are in like maybe the defensive line where they've got a whole load of players there that they can hide behind. These are effectively players that are in Xavier Watts is in the secondary, so effectively he messes up, that's a touchdown. That could be a touchdown. So
yeah,
they've come in, Billy Bowman Jr. as well. They've come into positions where there's a lot of pressure and there's a lot of movement towards they players. If you're a coach and you're looking at these players, who are you targeting? You're targeting the 2 rookies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's been happening. Hence the reason why Xavier Watts has got 2 interceptions, because they're effectively targeting him. All fool them. From my point of view, all fool them. You know what I mean? So
we said it coming into the season, target them at your own risk.
But you then look at Jesse Bates III has been quiet because the rookies around him have literally have been taking the ball. So you're looking, you're going, right, okay, we've got Jesse Bates III there, we've got Billy Bowman Jr., we've got AJ Terrell's out, we've got Mike Hughes, we've got Xavier Watts, right, okay, well, we're not going to, but Mike Hughes, decent corner, we're not going there. Jesse Bates III, he's a ball hawk, we're not touching him. Right, okay, we've got Billy Bowman Jr. and we've got Xavier Watts. Right, okay, let's try them. Bang,
bad idea.
Xavier Watts. you know what I mean? So obviously he's won some accolade today. Well,
yes, he certainly has, and we'll get into that a little bit after the Washington game. But there were certain flowers handed out on offense and on defense. So yeah. But as Ricky says, that defense is turned up. As I say, like we promised you that, like, from what we seen coming in terms of their college stats, their little bit of film that we were watching coming in when we took those guys. And as I say, everyone likes to go like, no, the Falcons are going to Falcon when it comes to draft season, and oh no, they're giving up draft picks and they're moving around again. But I feel like it always proves warranted. I said it when we took Julio. I said it when we took McGarry and Lindstrom. I said it when we took Bijan. There are certain players that you need to just get the job done. And I feel like we again have taken exactly the road that we I expected us to, but at the same time it seems to trigger the league, and it's like, no, because at the end of the day I'm going to go a little bit hood on it. If you're not wearing red and black on a Sunday, I don't give a fuck what you think. That's just the end of it for me. But yeah.
Maggie saying about the Scottish pronunciation for turn up.
Turn up.
Turn up, aye. Turn up, aye. Aye. They've no turn up, or they have turned up.
Oh, I guess we could soften it to turned up, but nah. Why would we do that? You come here as not just as a football show, but also as a sort of an international party, and you're a little bit of Scottish culture. So we're going to need full haggis and iron brew, or not at all.
But yeah, I mean, what Ulbricht's doing, it's exciting. I've got to say, I never ever thought, and if you're a long-term Falcons fan watching this show, you'll understand. I never ever thought I would see a defense like this. In the Falcons, I think Matt Ryan, and all the time he was with the Falcons, his best defense was, I think they were sitting 15th in the NFL overall as a defense, and that's the best they ever got. We're now at a point where we're effectively in the top fives for certain statistics, which is phenomenal. I think I seen a statistic as well on on sacks. I think 11 games it took us to get the same sacks we got in the last 4 games. 11 games last season, which again is just. But again, we all knew that the defense was broke. We all knew that the defense was bad. I think Ryan Nielsen gave us a wee bit of a glimpse of where it could be, and then obviously Raheem Morris came in and for some unknown reason decided to bring Jimmy Lake in and not keep Ryan Nielsen. But he's made amends. He's made amends with Jeff Ulbrich, definitely.
And I want to take a second as well to address one of the comments in the chat from Southside. So he's saying he can see us getting more defensive talent through the draft from here on out, the way that we used to draft offensive talent. And I can see that because I feel like we're getting there, but I feel like we're not there 100% of the way. So the only two places I could really see, I would bring in maybe one more high round corner just to compete. Not that Mike Hughes is at all bad, but I would bring in one more guy to throw into that mix. And I would do the same on the defensive line, especially on the interior, not so much out on the edge. Would you agree with that, Des? Maybe one more linebacker as well on the outside, just for kind of depth's sake. But in terms of kind of draft picks, I feel like offensively we're pretty set. Maybe one more tackle, just obviously given that Jack Nelson isn't panning out, but it's only a very small time that he's had to adjust. So Jack Nelson could well maybe come into his own, but only time will tell. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, from my point of view, if you're telling me, well, we've not got the first round pick, but if you're telling me that the player that we're going to pick that in our first, it'll be the second round, it's going to be a cornerback. Unless it doesn't fall for us, it doesn't help the fact that AJ Terrell has been injured a few times. So, and again, he's dealing with an injury again. I would say cornerback's probably one of the positions that I would really want to strengthen the depth on it and bring somebody in. I mean, you look at obviously the O-line as well, but I mean, give Elijah Wilkinson his flowers, as you say.
Yeah.
I think Elijah Wilkinson, we've not heard his name. And I seen I think it was one of the Atlanta Falcons guys saying that if you don't talk about him, then that's a good thing. And to be honest, we have not talked about, well, effectively, just now we've got two games we do not mention. We've got obviously the big game that we do not mention, and then we've got the Panthers game that we will not mention anymore.
No, I'd really rather not.
But apart from that, I think everything's been doing well. We should have bet Tampa Bay. We should have took it to overtime. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Koo missed the field goal. You know what I mean? So,
but as you say, our defense has been bailing us out. So as Tony says, we're number 2 in the whole NFL in total defense right now. So even if we put Potter out a little bit, you're still looking at maybe a top 6, top 8 defense in the league if we can keep it going, if the right bodies can stay healthy, and things like that as well. Because as Maggie said, not just last season but in a lot of years prior, we have not looked good at all from that standpoint. So I completely agree with you. And shout out to Jerome. It's a pleasure as always to see you there, brother. And as he says, it's your good brothers across the pond. Plus, you've had a little wait for us to get back. So if you can't drop a like tonight, then you never will. So if we can't put out an appeal, then what are we even doing? So keep the likes and the subscribes coming. We know you always do, but as I say, we're thrilled every time. So just keep it coming. So and Southside's dropping a little bit of knowledge for us now. So Mauga, he's a monster and can play every position on the line out of Miami. A right tackle. That sounds interesting. Obviously playing Florida football, that's not bad. And I will get a chance to see him because we have been warned that Texas is on upset alert against Florida. So that's something that I'm going to be looking forward to seeing, and I've heard a lot about that kid. So I'll put my hands up. I haven't seen a lot of his film or his work, but given that you're shouting him out to me, that's definitely, and given the fact that they're saying, watch out for Florida, then in that case, it's one I definitely will be looking for. As I say, there's a lot of issues I've got with my Texas Longhorns this year, but one of them will be how is he going to handle the pass rush? And that's going to be a big part about whether we can win on Saturday. So, I agree.
Jerome's put something as well. Jerome 69. Why are we being linked to Jacoby Myers trade? I like our wide receiver core unless we trade Ray for him straight up. I think the issue is Darnell Mooney. Obviously, he's again, they're hoping he's going to be back, but to be honest, Darnell Mooney has not looked himself at all. It has not looked anything like what he was last year. So whether that's historic coming off because obviously he got injured in the last game last year, or obviously the injury he got in training camp, he just has not looked himself. He's not looked completely healthy. And if you look at it, I mean, Kyle Pitts is getting a lot more passes and getting targeted more than Darnell Mooney, which is something that I didn't think I would see. Ray has missed he's dropped quite a few important throws. So again, he's not looking as to be honest, for a few of the games, the offense really looked out of sorts. I remember watching Arthur Smith's offense, and in my words, I always used to say that it was very bitty. You just it would flow. It would literally do a drive right down, effectively easy. Then the next time he'd come in and they'd literally get 20 yards and they'd have to punt it. It was very, very bitty. And for the first few weeks, the offense was bitty. And again, it's a shout out to the people that wanted the main players to play during preseason.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. It's like if we'd maybe, and this is where you kind of, as I say, put the devil's advocate into it. If you don't play your starters, this is what can happen. Teething problems. Obviously, in hindsight, what do you want to do? Because you've got early divisional games, so I can definitely see the logic to both sides of that argument as well. So it's kind of what do you want? But as I say, I think like we're getting there. As we've said a few times tonight, like already, I feel like we're getting there. We're not 100% there, and maybe it's going to take another draft process to do. As I say, we're not the finished article yet, but there are so many positive signs for a team that's lost 2 games in our division already. There is a lot to kind of be positive about, as I've said.
But that's the issue. It's 2 divisional games we've lost. You know what I mean? Yeah. So effectively, at some point, I don't think we're not. We're not competing with the Panthers to win the division. Listen, we're not even talking about that game. That game was, I mean, it's what you would call an anomaly. I mean, it was just nothing went right. Penix Jr. just didn't look. He looked jittery, and the calls weren't coming in time. He was literally still standing there with 10 seconds to go before he actually started looking at the defense in front of him. It just didn't work. But again, I'll say again, the Falcons would be a phenomenal team if they just stopped making the silly wee mistakes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't take us getting absolutely pummeled against the Panthers for them to decide that Zach Robinson has to come out of the booth and stand at the sideline. Not at all. That should have been something that was dealt with straight away. I've never liked seeing coaches up in the booth because effectively, if you're one, as Bijan Robinson says, that Zach Robinson says to him literally in the first quarter, I should have been down on the sideline all along. Well, that should have been his call. That should have been. I mean, what I would say is, and again, Raheem Morris is the head coach. Raheem Morris has been in Super Bowl winning teams.
Yeah.
Right. So he sees what works and he sees what doesn't work. You know what I mean? Effectively, he must be looking at this, and it happened last year as well with Kirk Cousins when the calls were coming in late. At some point, somebody has to say, or Raheem Morris has to stand up and say, right, for the start of this season, I want you on the sideline. You can communicate with the players, you can pass on your instructions quicker to the players, and the players can talk to you better and effectively communicate what they're seeing from their view. You know what I mean? listen, understand if you're up there, you can look down, but they've got other people up there to pass all the information on to the coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It shouldn't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You've got the nice black and red headsets, just like myself, so it can be filtered down.
But it shouldn't take us getting pummeled by the Panthers to effectively tell them, well, this isn't working. We all could see it wasn't working. For the first 3 games of this season, we were saying that doesn't work. We're watching the calls coming in, and they're literally. Michael Penix Jr. is a rookie. It's his second season, but he's played 7 games. He can read a defense, but he needs time to read a defense. And this wasn't giving him enough time to read the defense. But why does it take us getting pummeled 32-0 with the Panthers to make a decision? That's how I'm saying the Falcons, just if they'd stop making these silly wee daft mistakes and effectively grow up and be adults about it, and make decisions and make hard decisions, and effectively for Raheem to stand up and say, this ain't working, I'm seeing this ain't working. Just like last year with Kirk Cousins, we had 5 of the worst quarterback play, 5 of the worst games a quarterback play last season that you're ever going to see. And Raheem Morris didn't stand up and say, after second game or the third game, it has to go. It effectively took us nearly getting beat by the Raiders, and Desmond Ridder played for the Raiders, that effectively then made a decision, right, this needs to change.
Yeah.
See, it doesn't work, Raheem. Make the change. I am not an NFL coach. I have never played an NFL snap. I've never played a football snap. But even I'm watching and I can see that there's issues with the calls that get in. You know what I mean? So what's getting discussed in the background when games aren't getting played?
Yeah, and that's the thing. And as Maggie says as well, maybe we earned this punch in the mouth because maybe it will be something that makes the coaches go, nah, enough is enough. And one thing I will say, I don't know if I completely agree with Miss Sonia there about Raheem's got to go. But one thing that I will say, and I have been waiting almost 4 weeks to say this, and again, trigger warning if you don't like the colourful language, but you want the truth. But if you lose 30-0 in a divisional rivalry game, and you come out smiling and mincing around and hugging out with the opposition and thinking like it's some kind of party, as an Atlanta Falcons head coach, I cannot stress this enough. This is not the fucking look. There was no will either offensively or defensively in that Carolina game. And as a coach, not just as a head coach, as any coach in that franchise on that night, it was a fucking shambles. And that's all I'm going to say about Carolina. So I'm glad that we were able to make the adjustments to take the win over Washington, because it's made me...
There's no Carolina Panthers ain't beating anybody 32-0 anywhere this season. You know what I mean? But Bryce Young, whatever you say, Bryce Young is not the answer for Carolina Panthers. And to be honest, the way that the longer they continue, so be it. They're effectively they'll never, apart from Cam Newton, that season 2015 was it 2015. They've been average and bad at best. So and they picked the wrong quarterback. I think Bryce Young is not the answer. But the longer it takes them to work that out, the better. To be honest, it's better for us. But to actually lose that game, I mean, I'm literally I've got my son on the phone while we're watching. So he's at work. I've got my son on the phone saying, "Dad, what the hell is happening?" And he was like, you were the one that convinced me to support the Atlanta Falcons. And I don't know what to say. I'm literally, at this point, I mean, I think he's given me up for adoption. I think he wants to get rid of me. It's like, what are you doing to me? But again, I always said it was all about the way we come back from that. That was embarrassing. You know what I mean? What I would say is that we get rid of the wide receiver coach.
Yeah, Ike Hilliard.
But again, there was history. You could see that there was things that were happening with the wide receiver room. There was like they were going wrong ways and things like that. And we put it all down to, well, they haven't really been playing pre-season, all that kind of stuff. But obviously we don't know what's going on in the background. But
and to a certain extent, I agree. But at the same time, even if you're a rookie, even if you're coming from a relatively high level college program, which for 98% of the guys who enter the league, it's going to be from a Division 1 football program. As such, you know what a route tree looks like. So I don't want to know. Get your head in the playbook. Know what pattern you have on what play. So you're not coming to the point where you're going, oh, is that a 10 in or is it a 12 in post? Read your playbook and it'll tell you everything you need to know.
But again, another thing on this coaching staff, effectively we've played 4 games this season. In the last 5 games, we've lost twice to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
That's on the coaching staff.
Yes, sir. I agree.
Jimmy Lake was gone quickly straight after the season, after that game. You know what I mean? This was Jeff Ulbricht's defense, and to be honest, they tried their best, but the offense just, it was tough to watch. It was tough to watch. But again, they bounced back with the Washington. Again, if you're, as you said earlier, we're 2-2, and if you'd have picked the 2 games that you thought they would have won and picked the 2 games you thought they would have lost, it would have been the Vikings and the Commanders that we lose, and we beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and we beat the Panthers.
Yeah.
Again, that's frustrating for me, Will, because that should have been, we should have beat Tampa Bay. I don't think Tampa Bay, listen, they're a great team. And with Todd Bowles, they will always be well managed and well coached.
Yeah.
And to be honest, with Baker Mayfield, guy's the most underappreciated quarterback in the NFL. The guy is he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think I seen a post that somebody said he's all hate Baker Mayfield. I don't. I respect the man. You know what I mean? What he's done and everything he's went through. Fair play to the man. He's stepped up. He's been under a lot of pressure and he stepped up. He's a man's man, as I would say.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'll give him his due as well, because if anybody's got cause to hate Baker Mayfield, it's me. His alma mater's the University of Oklahoma, and now he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Okay, so I have had years to grow hatred for this man, but at the same time, I can't dispute the fact that he's a very talented quarterback. His improvisational skill is among the top in the league. I would say maybe top 8, top 10 in the league in terms of being able to get the job done while he's running. So yeah, and as I say, they've got a lot of weapons on offense and defense. When you're trying to stop a Vita Vea and a Kalijah Kancey, as I said in the run-up to the game, even with an offensive line as stacked as us, even when you're talking about starters, Tampa Bay is always a threat. And to agree with you, I'm not scared of New Orleans and I'm not scared of Carolina. And we prove that what happens when you go out in a divisional game against a team you're not scared of and you do nothing. Last time we fired Jimmy Lake, this time we fired Ike Hilliard. Stop talking shit and not putting up when it's time to put up. You want to run the South, run the South.
But what I would say is on what I said about Baker Mayfield, same to Michael Penix Jr. He came from probably the worst game. The worst game of his short NFL career, and literally balled out against the Washington Commanders. Now you imagine the pressure that's on that guy's back. You know what I mean? Everything gets through you. They say it's the loneliest position in sports, the quarterback, and he stepped up. And I'll tell you that throw to Drake London was a thing of beauty.
Oh, truly.
I mean, literally, I'm booking a tour of the Sistine Chapel in Rome because I'm telling you now, in the Vatican, because I'm telling you now, that's pictured up there somewhere because that was a beauty. Absolutely beautiful. And he didn't do it once or twice. But again, this is what frustrated me. Anybody watching the Panthers game, it looked as if they were trying to reel Michael Penix Jr. in. It was as if they were trying to stop the big throws down the pitch and down the field. You know what I mean? And effectively, it must have been the way that Zach Robinson has seen the Panthers being getting set up. But again, I would say the Washington Commanders defense is a better defense. It's a Dan Quinn defense.
Yeah,
it's better than the Panthers. You know what I mean? So they obviously seen something there that they thought was better. But I'll go back to what when he was getting interviewed, when Michael Penix Jr. was getting interviewed with Michael Vick, and he said, "Is the coach trying to pull you back because he's a left-hander?" And his words were, "I just say to him, coach, just go with it, just let it be." And I felt as if in that Panthers game, it was as if he was getting held back, as if Zach Wilson was trying to manage it rather than just letting him be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He had an interception against the Commanders, and he bounced back the next one as if nothing happened. So he's got a tough mind. He doesn't care about interceptions. He just bounces back, and that's what we want to see from a rookie. And I'll give him his due. On Sunday, he balled out. He was phenomenal. Yeah. Michael Penix Jr. was phenomenal. So
it's that whole Rocky Balboa mentality, especially as a rookie. It's not how many times you get knocked down, but how many times you can get up and keep swinging. I completely kind of agree with that, and I would definitely agree with that as well, Ricky. Des, you said it earlier too. Kyle Pitts is having a better season now than what we were expecting, and of course, the rest of the receiver play has been a little lackluster at times. Let's keep it 100. But seen today that he's number 5 among all tight ends league-wide in receiving yards. So that speaks for itself. I mean, he definitely seems to have been putting the off-season work between himself and MPJ to some good sort of work. And as you say, it comes self-evident when you get the W. And as you say, 34-27. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. But as you say, let's get into some more good talk. As I say, we've dropped some facts.
Well, what I would say is it was a dominant win. I mean, that you take away from the fact that they had a field goal, they kicked a field goal, so that was effectively so they had 3 points less. They were only sitting on 24 points. You know what I mean? They were effectively at the point where they were kicking a field goal to effectively come within one score of us. I mean, it was for effectively being the NFC, one of the teams that were in the NFC Championship game. It was a dominant win for us. And again, we need this to work. We need the offense and the defense to click together. You're laughing at Jerome's eye, I know.
Yeah, because I'm not being funny here. I can read this and say that, I love to insult the New Orleans Saints, but at the same time, don't come for my claymores. Or you'll be fit to see some real Scottish claymores, because only Scots get to say the Scottish are shit.
Absolutely.
So don't start what you're not prepared to finish, Jerome. I'm warning you.
Scottish claymores, historic team, absolutely historic.
Yeah, and as I say, a special announcement as well that in the coming weeks we do have a couple of special guests ready to come on. So one of them will be former Scottish Claymore and British American Football Association Hall of Fame wide receiver Scott Cooper. So keep your eyes peeled for that. The guy went chase the dream about as far as you can chase it as a Scotsman. At one point in the International Bowl, he took snaps for the Chicago Bears. So, as I say, coming from Glasgow myself, if you are in any way involved in British football, that is a name that is household to you. And Des will tell you that as well. So we're beyond thrilled to have Coop coming on the show. So we're looking forward to that as well.
To be honest, going from the Scottish Claymores to the Chicago Bears was a downgrade from. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah! At least it wasn't in New Orleans, because it could have been a whole lot worse.
Absolutely.
So yeah, as I say, we want to, as I say, serve not just as a sports show but also as a culture show. So it gives us a little chance to talk about some of Scott's memories as well, some of Des's memories and my memories too, about growing up and getting yourself sort of established as a player, as a fan of American football, what the experience is like in Scotland and Europe as well. So it gives you guys a little bit more of an insight into what that's like. So as I say, it's a show that we're going to be especially sort of proud to bring. So if you've got any questions that you have for that, then as I say, you know where to drop them. Our socials will be at the end of the show as well. So
I would say apologies for Will calling it American football. Effectively, if we ever say that in a show, it's down to the fact that in the UK, we have to call it. I'll either say that I'm a big NFL fan.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Or you have to say American football. Because
admittedly, my mistake, because we make a different distinction here. I've told people in England and things like, if I say football, I mean NFL. When I'm talking about kickball, soccer, I will call it football. Which is but yeah, as I say, if I ever make a slip and say American football, then of course you'll know what I mean. But
listen, see if you walk into a pub in Glasgow and call it soccer, you're getting attacked. I mean,
exactly.
Involved. Somebody's hitting you with a bottle. We can't call it soccer, so we have to call it American football. So sometimes if we do throw that out, it's just habitual. That's just what we as a habit we have to say over here.
I mean, as much as I say, I've got martial arts training in my past. I don't want to come on here and do a Joker moment where I'm like, you want to know how I got these scars? I asked someone in Glasgow. Is it? You know what I'm saying? So no, we don't want to cross that bridge.
I went into a pub in Brighton and called it soccer. That was the idea.
Yeah, like I have enough issues with my health without just inviting that sort of problem onto myself. But yeah, as I say, like Jerome's saying, like, we think there's infrastructure better now than that it has been in over a couple of decades now at this point. It's been gone, but we feel like we could really bring NFL Europe back. I feel like between Germany, France, Holland, Ireland, England and Scotland, we could really, really field something. Scandinavia as well. Some of these leagues, I know Sweden is, Germany is, and Holland is now, are actually paying their players. I think France is about to follow suit too. So I mean, that is now that they're being played, essentially what you could class professional leagues now. So there is, and as you've said before, Des, there's infrastructure to maybe make that your practice squad. Have a 53-man squad over in Europe too, you know.
But see if you actually look, I mean, you could literally have Europe and Asia. See if you actually look at the size of America, flying from Atlanta to Seattle. If you flew from London, you're literally getting to maybe Dubai.
Yeah.
In that time, you know what I mean? So effectively, we could have a European Asia. Like I'm pretty sure the Saudis would want to get involved with football. So I mean, from my point of view, as we've said before in the show, I think there's the NFL Europe came at a time where probably watching NFL and watching football was considered a niche sport.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you had effectively a couple of games here and there in Channel 4 before Sky got involved and started showing a lot of the games. But now effectively you can be walking down the centre of Glasgow and you'll see somebody walking past you with one or two or maybe three people walking past you with different NFL shirts on. So it's getting to a point, it's becoming popular. And I've said before, now is the time for us to actually push. And when you look at some of the players that are on the practice squad, they can effectively come to NFL Europe or NFL rest of the world and play full games, play for championships, you know what I mean? And play in games and play with crowds, you know what I mean? And you look at the players that have been cut that are effectively maybe going to go to the Canadian Football League or they'll go to the XFL, you know what I mean? Effectively bring them in and play them in the NFL Europe, rest of the world. I think if you got the Saudis involved, then I think it would pay for itself. You know what I mean? And then
definitely. I mean, credit to WWE as well, because Triple H had the wherewithal to sign that paper and get over. Because look at how successful the Crown Jewel events and things like that have been. The match quality notwithstanding, because I remember how bad DX versus the Brothers of Destruction were. Your boy is a wrestling fan, so let's not talk about how past it they were when that match came around. But in terms of the Saudi money, like the NFL would draw, and it would be a crazy amount of money coming in terms of merch sales, in terms of just growing the brand, growing the media rights and things like that as well. So I feel like, as I say, in terms of setting up rest of the world, NFL Europe and all that sort of thing, there's a hell of a lot that can be done as well. So but just before we do sort of start to get into sort of more of the season in general, and then sort of start to close things out, I've got 4 for you, but I know you're going to have a few more names as well, and we may have even mentioned them in passing, Des. But in terms of some of the standout performers from the first 4 games, who I have is this is the time to also talk about some of those accolades that we were talking about earlier. So 2 from offense, 2 from defense. So NFC Offensive Player of the Month, Bijan Robinson at running back. And then, although he's just had, as I say, recently the worst game of his short career, I'm going to shout out Michael Penix, because at the end of the day, he's proven that he can step up and lead, and he's proven that bounce back ability now, that he can take adversity and he can keep fighting. So on that kind of covers my offensive picks. And then in terms of defense, we have the NFL league-wide defensive rookie of the month in Xavier Watts at safety. And then, as I say, anchoring that new pass rush, James Pierce Jr. from the University of Tennessee Volunteers. So, as I say, 2 from O, 2 from D from me, but definitely 4 guys that have been quintessential to the Falcons season thus far, and I feel like those 4 will continue to be, especially as we go down the stretch as well, if they can, assuming they can stay healthy. So, if you'd like to jump in on that and tell us about some of your picks as well, Des, we'd be thrilled to hear what kind of names you've got.
Yeah, I mean, the one I'm going to mention a few. You grabbed the low lying fruit. You know what I mean? You grabbed the easy one. So
exactly. I left it open to interpretation. So as I say, I'll take the easy ones and let you do a bit of a grind this time.
I mean, as I said before, again, doesn't get enough of the recognition. Tyler Algier is, I call him a sledgehammer. I mean, he was phenomenal against the Commanders, and it's perfect. And I've said we need to get this guy signed up. We need this boy signed up. You know what I mean? We need to get him. Whether it's a 4-year, $50 million contract, $12.5 million a year, whatever. We can't let Tyler Algier walk out the door. We just can't allow it to happen. Him and effectively Bijan Robinson are just the perfect pairing. Bijan does all the jinx, and effectively once he's effectively broke the ankles, then it's Tyler Algier, bang, he just smacks him in the mouth.
Yep. As I say, it's been a few weeks since you've heard it, and we love to come up with the new catchphrases. So as I say, hashtag Duke and Nuke. Because once you're done running around sideline to sideline after Bijan, we've got Tyler, and he's going to come out and just run your ass over.
Yeah.
So you've got to love it, the 1-2 punch. And as I say, the league experts may not agree with me, but I think we've got probably a top 3 1-2 punch at running back in the whole league. I don't think there's many teams at all that can stack up with us. Possibly Detroit, maybe Philadelphia, certainly not Tampa. Like Tampa's good at running back, but I think we're better.
Yeah, I mean, as I've said before, Tyler Algier could be the RB1 in probably 15, 18 teams easily.
Yep.
The other one I'm going to shout out, which again, Terry Fontenot, fair play. Divine Diablo. I mean,
Ricky agrees with you there. Yeah.
He has been an absolute monster, that man. What a signing. Effectively came for the San Francisco 49ers, or no, it came from the Raiders.
Raiders, yeah.
It was Leonard Floyd that came from San Francisco, and he's been phenomenal. There's been times where I think it was at the first game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. It was just seems to be it was everywhere in the park.
Yeah.
The other one I'm going to shout out as well. Again, I spoke earlier. Elijah Wilkinson. We've not had to really mention his name, which is a phenomenal thing. And to be honest, Storm Norton will probably be coming back after the bye, and I don't think Storm Norton's getting into this team. He's effectively going to be depth coverage. So again, shout out and give the guys some roses. The Elijah Wilkinson's been fantastic. Again, Billy Bowman. Again, Billy Bowman's played phenomenal for being a rookie. Again, a few pass breakups, and he seems to have the pace and the speed as well. So, and again, you've got Caden Ellis. Again, Caden Ellis is just Mr. Reliable. He's everywhere. And again,
he's slowly trying to kind of take that Mr. Falcon moniker on that defense that maybe Grady Jarrett had in years past. That sort of almost, well, I was going to say almost a leader on that front seven, but at this point, how do you pick a leader on that front seven? That's a tough conversation.
But again, another one to shout out is Zach Harrison. Again, he seems to be effectively the main man in the pass rush. So he's played really well. So I mean, it's as south side Ricky says, Xavier Watts definitely for defensive rookie of the year. Definitely.
And I'm going to throw one more in there when you were talking about the defensive line pressure. I feel like Brandon Dorlus deserves a shout out too, because we've seen a lot of good work out 5'4".
Have you seen that wee video?
No,
when Bijan Robinson catches the ball, Brandon Dorlus is sitting there and he's like watching it, and it was like, I mean, the guy, like, I always remember back to Frank Darby, the wide receiver that we brought in. And he never really got a lot of playing time, but he always brought a smile to my face, because he was always happy, and he was always up for a laugh. And to be honest, it's a tough game. And they work hard, and you have to have your laugh. But you can just see Brandon Dorlus is just the guy that's just making everybody laugh. I mean, as I say, a lot of these players in the pass rush were brought in, and effectively it's took a wee bit of time for them to get going. Which, if you look back in some of the best pass rush players in the last 10 or 15 or 20 years, they all had slow starts. It took them time to get into it all. So we're now starting to see that. But listen, the future's bright. There's a lot of young players in there. But we have to go back to talk about the best, and I am saying this, the best player at this moment in the NFL and Bijan Robinson, and it's Bijan. Bijan, he literally came out and says, "Forget what my mommy says. It's Bijan. I like getting called Bijan." You know what I mean? So I mean that man is. I'm sorry, but NASA needs to land a craft on this man's head and take samples, because that man isn't from this planet.
I'm convinced you're right. That is some sort of creature that has come from the netherworld. Like, I don't know quite how to explain it. And as I say, he's kind of, when you're saying about that, Ricky, he has kind of surprised me too. He has kind of appeared off the radar. He was one of the names that I thought maybe could have made some sort of progression, but to this level has surprised me too. So yeah, I would definitely agree with you. But yeah, as I say, when you're talking about the future is bright, I would 100% agree. But at the same time, we can't not salute the past. So I would also, I don't have a photo to back this up as it's just came back to me, but I want to offer a special thank you for your service, first off. And secondly, a huge congratulations, even if it should go no further. But in our opinion, I think it goes without saying, we want that gold blazer for you. So congratulations to defensive end maestro, Mr. John Abraham, on being selected or nominated, I should say, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton. So congratulations, big man. Could not be prouder of the work you've done. So yeah, Des, you wanna say a few words too on that?
Yeah, I mean, effectively, he's missed every day. Well, maybe not this season, but every other season after he left, he was missed because he the best way is, I mean, he left a shadow. That's for sure. He left a shadow, and effectively, I think we're only at the point now after 13 years. Was 2012 his last?
I think you might be right. Yeah, 2012.
Yeah, so 13 years when we're at a point where we're trying to replace him. So that says all you need to know about how good that man is, or how good that man was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be honest, I'm shocked by how, I think we've only got, is it 1 or 2 players that we've actually got in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, it's a very small, very small.
I think one of them, it just wasn't an Atlanta Falcons player. He played for, I think, Deion Saunders is in there. I think, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. Again, 4 seasons with Atlanta Falcons. The rest was somewhere else. So
and again, Tony Gonzalez is in, as much as you and I both love the double H, but he's a chief.
It was a chief Chiefs player. So
and I mean, let's keep it 100. He was a Hall of Famer before he ever touched base in Flowery Branch.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, Julio Jones and Matt Ryan are going to definitely get in. But we need to be in a position where statistically we've got mostly Atlanta Falcon players. They've played mostly with Atlanta Falcons in the Hall of Fame, because when they're actually standing at that over that bust and they're playing all the highlights, it's all us. It's all Atlanta Falcons. That's what I want. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, there's very few players that are in the Hall of Fame that you can statistically say are mainly Atlanta Falcons players. So that needs to change.
Yeah, and as I say, it's going to be a good start when John sort of leads that charge. Because as I say, I know he's known also as a New York Jet, but he played a significant amount of time here too, not just 3 or 4 seasons, and not to neglect the contributions of either Deion or Tony. I would not begin to condescend on 21 or 88, so don't take that in any way as derogatory. But at the same time, I want career-long Atlanta Falcons enshrined in Canton. So I completely see what you're saying on that one, Des. I agree. But yeah, as I say, we've covered in long or short a lot of Claude Humphrey. I think that might well be your other name there, Jerome. I'm not. Yeah, as I say, there's a lot of names that we could drop that should really be in there. Terence Mathis, Keith Brooking, Roddy White. There are names, Michael Turner, as I say, Obi Mahaley. There are names that we could throw into the mix that you really could consider candidates, but as I say, maybe the stats aren't quite what they're looking for, or they've not greased the right palms in the right sort of ways, as you say.
I just think they can't see past good players and bad teams, because historically Atlanta Falcons has been a bad team. You know what I mean? So it's only. I mean, I started watching them at 2008, so that's when they drafted Matt Ryan. So I mean, before that, it wasn't great, but
No, not at all. And thank you for the update, Maggie. Apparently, Roddy White is nominated as well, so I'm thrilled to know that, because he was one of my favourite Falcons, sort of when I first started watching as well. So I'm thrilled to see Roddy go in. He's more than earned his place.
And Michael Turner as well, was he nominated? Michael Turner, the burner?
I would hope so. I've not seen anything to that effect, but if not, he really should be. Because as I say, that's a guy that ran in a very similar way to the way that Tyler Algier runs as well. Just head down and get ready for contact.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
We don't want Tyler Algier to turn into the Michael Turner, the Falcons, and go to another team and have a Hall of Fame career. We want Tyler Algier to be here. And to be honest, the salary cap, well, the salary for a good running back, even if you pay him running back one, it shouldn't be any more than $12.5 million a season. And to be honest, he's worth that all day long.
I would agree. As you say, he will start on more of half the teams. You said 18, it may even be 20 or slightly more. But I mean, there are a lot of teams that he would be RB1. So I have no qualms whatsoever, like yourself, in paying him that sort of money. He clearly deserves it, and it keeps that 1-2 punch intact, because I think that can be extremely damaging to opposition defenses for years and years to come. I'm extremely happy that the work that we've done to put this offense together as well. So yeah, just to, as I say, confirm, and off the back of that there are 8 nominees for the Hall of Fame. There is a video included which we don't have time to watch right now, but we will get back to you on that for Saturday's show. So there are some names nominated, as I say, for Atlanta Falcons Hall of Famers, and here they are here. They are running back Warwick Dunn, defensive end John Abraham, wide receiver Roddy White, running back Todd Gurley, kicker Chris Boswell, offensive lineman Justin Blaylock, defensive lineman Mike Johnson, and running back Michael Turner. So congratulations to all those guys. And apologies that I did not shout you guys out earlier. But now that I've seen that list, that is the full undoctored list for you of the nominations from the ATL for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So yeah.
We shouldn't talk about Todd Gurley, I don't think.
Well, we could, but we won't.
The touchdown that should never have happened. Matt Ryan stands and says to him, "Whatever you do not score a touchdown. Do not cross that line." And then he runs up and then staggers. Seemingly, he was on an incentive to effectively for touchdowns.
Okay.
When he done that, I think so.
There had to be some justification like that, man. You don't like there wasn't, surely.
I know, but shout out to Todd Gurley. When you actually see the yards he done and the time that he was really, really healthy, it's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Truly, like as I say, I know that health wasn't with him by the end of his career, but in his prime, when he had that short run, the man was electric for a minute. So credit where it's due, as I say. And again, for all 8 of those guys, thank you again for your time and your contributions to the Atlanta Falcons. And as I say, in the case of John Abraham, you can chill now. we've finally found a couple of guys who might be able to fill those cleats just a little bit. So maybe the worry time is finally past, Des. And
absolutely.
So what we'll do now, as I say, for the last 90 minutes, I'd wanted to keep it to myself because we don't like to jinx anything first off, and we don't like to keep our eyeballs on the numbers. But we have broken a record here in episode 21. So this is the most viewers we have had in one show. We spiked over 30 for most of the show, and at one point we hit a record of 38, which is the most people we have ever had watching the Scottish Falcons show podcast at the same time. So, as I say, we know that we've had a few things to sort, but we're back now and in a big way, breaking records, taking names, and kicking asses. The Falcons love to do.
We'll be here for drive time, and it's 10:05 at the moment over here, so it's effectively bedtime for us just soon. So I know it's only 5:05 in Atlanta. So I think in one of the chats, I think it was maybe Southside Ricky asked, or Jerome asked, what time the Buffalo Bills game's on our side. I think it's 1:10 our time in the morning. So and probably me and Will will probably have a watch party. So we'll be watching it in together. So
and as I say, for the ones that are interacting in the chat, please do. We love your continued takes, all your thoughts. We try to get through, if not all of them, then as certainly as many as we can. For the frequent flyers, and I tend to reference you by name. So for the guys and ladies in the chat who enjoy this show so much and make it what it is every week, then as I say, get in touch with Cam. You'll get him on Facebook at 10Camo1 or ourselves, because it is we do head up the watch party on here. We don't do it live because Coach handles that, but we do our own little private watch party as well. So if you want to come on, have a laugh, as I say, 18 plus, because the language will get a little dark at times, just given the fact that A, we're Scottish, and B, we're Falcons. So as I say, it completely goes with the territory. But as we round off, then, as I say, there are so many of you here. So as I say, we're on all platforms now. So as always, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter. I'm now on TikTok as well, but we'll be getting the Scottish Falcons pages up and running soon. But in the meantime, you can find me at Will the Thrill Waddle. If you don't find it under the full spelling of WADDELL, then you will find it under the spelling under which I have it on here, which is WAD-L, which was my dad's old web tag. So as such, it was only right that I continued the legacy. So you'll find me on there. So get at Will the Thrill. And as I say, if you want to be part of it, we have as I say, 2 shows a week. Going forward, there may be slightly more, but we do have a group chat as well for anything that's coming up, sharing links, sharing StreamYards and all that as well. We do also have the watch parties for all the games as well. So for the ladies and gents who are so frequently here to show the love, then by all means join the Kilted Revolution. You know where to get us. As I say, Des, for yourself, it's still just X, isn't it? For as I say.
So effectively going forward, we will be. I'll always be on X. So I'm X. So you'll get me at Scottish Falcons. So and obviously shows going forward will be 8:30 on a Thursday night, which is effectively 3:30 Atlanta time. And also Saturday, we do Saturdays, which is again 8:30. When you're you can have us on in the background when you're watching the college football, if you're into college football. So again, that's 8:30 UK time, 3:30 Atlanta time. Or if you're not able to watch it and you're watching maybe the Georgia Bulldogs, then you can obviously always rewatch the shows. It's as it's when you're ready to watch. So
and that's the beauty of YouTube. And also on that note, what we will be doing as I say, we've been pushing for it for a long time, building the audience and things like that. So our contribution to AFN will not stop. So do not think that diminishes by any margin what we're doing here. But the Scottish Falcons will be doing independent content as well, because, as I say, there is stuff that we want to talk about that is going to be broader than this. So we want to get into some college football ourselves. We want to get into some pro wrestling. We want to really have some fun with it. So, as I say, the shows are maybe going to be slightly shorter in general, but by all means, as I say, keep your eyes peeled if you like wrestling, if you're into college football, if you're into maybe even baseball, basketball, some of the broader sports as well, then keep your eyes peeled and let us know what you want to see. We'll be thrilled to take a look and cover it for you, whether it's Georgia Bulldogs, Texas Longhorns. As I say, we could go on all night because there's so many college programs. And Des, I know you're in it for the love of the game and for the fun, because I know you've not specifically picked a team yet.
Yeah, so effectively, Georgia Bulldogs were doing so well. When I really, I mean, it probably about 3-4 years ago, I started really getting involved in the college football. So I felt, I mean, I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan. I'm an underdog, so I felt it felt strange picking them. So effectively, I just enjoy watching college football. I'll just watch any game. I'm a big Atlanta Braves fan. So again, obviously, we've just lost the manager. So we're starting to look at who's going to take over from Snit. So never ever really been able to get into basketball, so I can't really call myself a Hawks fan. But the main teams, well, not the main teams, but the Braves and the Falcons, that's my team. And any college football at all. So
yep. Sounds good. And then finally, just before we do kind of close it out, now that we've done the socials, we do have a couple of questions there. Shout out to Blackberry, home team. Yeah. You know how to do, baby boy. As I say, you're more than welcome to come on the show one night again, because as I say, if you don't know Blackberry by now, you really should. Another one of the AFN family. You can catch him on the podcast of the same name. Always showing love. And you know how to do. Blackberry and I are frequently known to have our familial tiffs, but brothers will fight. That's just how it works, especially when you've got a football team that's going to treat you over the years as our football team has treated us. But we do have a couple of last minute questions here. So just to drop my new visual while we get those sorted. So I know that we see that there was one from Southside Ricky. So do we look at another wide receiver during the bye? I think, yeah. It's not something that can hurt us in any way, given the fact that obviously Darnell Mooney's hurt. And then you add into the mix the fact that there's been some inconsistent play from Ray McLeod as well. So if I'm looking at free agency market, that's where I'm probably looking receiver, maybe one more cornerback, as we said earlier. How about you, Des? Are you sort of in the same boat there?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we had a chat one of the videos we done, and I said that the depth at wide receiver I was really happy with. But I just don't think Ray McLeod. I don't think he stepped up this season. Darnell Mooney's injured. You know what I mean? So, so effectively, at the end of the day, we're only loyal to the team. You know what I mean? Whatever's best for the team.
Yeah, and that's it. And as I say, I know we get we get colourful and we go on some rants and some tirades sometimes, but damn it, it's our show. And we earned the right. But with all due respect, you guys appreciate so much in us that we ain't scared. We ain't going to back down from giving you guys the facts as it is. If it ain't right, we're going to tell you it ain't right. So, as I say, as always, thank you for keeping it here. Thank you for keeping it with the Atlanta Falcons International, and thank you for keeping it with the Scottish Falcons. Because just before we close out, as I say, I'm not often one to kind of blow my own trumpet in a lot of cases, but I do love this visual. Always remember that no matter how hard it gets, we love our ATL.
Absolutely.
So as much as we've said it before, Des, it's an abusive relationship at times, but we can't walk away, can we?
At times, it's all the time. You know what I mean? So, but you know what our catchphrase is. You know what I mean? It's
Yep, and as I say, I'll drop it tonight. You've not heard it for a few weeks. So if there's ever a chance to drop it, we end every episode with it. So thank you, Ricky. And I think if he's not careful, he might just do that.
Absolutely.
But as I say, join us on Saturday because we'll have a hell of a lot more to get into. As I say, it's bye week, so we can talk a little bit more around the league if you want us to do that. You can get at us on the socials, as we say. But until then, thank you all for joining us, for making this a record-breaking show, for all of your takes, for all your love, your passion and your support, for helping us break with the AFN main channel, 4,000 subscribers, for tuning in and for putting up with all the madness that you get. So from myself, Will the Thrill, from the original Scottish Falcon, from Des, as I say, our closing thoughts, as always, are that pain is international, but so is passion. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again.
Thanks.